Welcome back, guys, to another movie review. This movie was a request by Lazar Head, and it is Dark Floors, starring the metal band Lordi. This movie came out in 2008, and I have to say this movie was pretty awesome. I never saw it before, but he requested it, so I thought I would watch the movie and give it a shot, do the review of it. And I really like this one. Lordi is a band that is kind of like Gwar. They wear crazy costumes. They look like monsters. And in this movie, they play the role of all the monsters. And I didn't know how this was going to work, but it actually came across really good, I thought. So I enjoyed this movie, and I thank you for the request, because otherwise I wouldn't have ever seen this probably. So I definitely liked it. The movie starts off and we see a little girl. She's getting a CAT scan. She starts freaking out in the machine, and there's like a small power outage. She keeps saying that she wants the red crown. So her dad gives her a red crown. She starts drawing all these circles with it, and then we see some guy in like a dirty coat walk by her. And he says something, but we don't hear what it is. She drops her crown and she starts saying, I want the red crown, I want the red crown. And the doctor tells her dad that maybe she should go to an institution. So her dad says, no, I know what's best for my daughter. He takes her back to her room in the hospital. And it's getting late at night, and he wants to take her home. So he puts her in a wheelchair and he goes to take her home out of the hospital. A nurse comes up to him and says he shouldn't take her. She should stay here with them. And they all get in the elevator. A security guard gets in there. A homeless man named Tobias, and some other guy who's kind of sneaky. He's got like a stuffed animal with him. So they all get in this elevator, and then there's another power outage. So they all get out on the 6th floor, but the place is empty. They think it's a fire drill, so they go and try and take the stairs, but it's locked. The nurse tells the dad that they need to get the girl her medicine, or it could be fatal, because they've been trying this new seizure medication on her, and she has to have it or it could kill her. So they hear a noise, and they find a woman in a wheelchair, just like a motorized chair, just hitting the wall repeatedly. So they turn her around, they find out she's dead and she has no eyes. And then they find an old staircase and they start to head down, but they stop because they hear a noise. A shot comes up and hits the cop or the security guard, and it grazes him, so it doesn't hurt him, but it makes them all run onto floor 5 to escape. So they lock the door behind them, but they hear something on the other side, and they go and they check the security cameras, and they see these shadows walking on floor 3, but then the feed goes out. So it's kind of a mystery at this point, what exactly is going on. They grab these walkie-talkies and they find the little girl. She went off on her own and she's staring at a door. Then all of a sudden the TV cuts on, the radio cuts on, the cell phones all cut on, and then they see a ghost appear. And they try to shoot it, which does nothing, of course. And the ghost screams and all the glass in the place breaks. The people run and escape into another stairwell, and then she appears there too. So they run out onto the 4th floor, and she's still chasing them. They're still trying to shoot her, and they accidentally cut on an x-ray machine, which scares the ghost off. So the homeless man, Tobias, says it's the Scream Queen. The other guy, the sneaky guy, goes off on his own. He's tired of this. He just wants to get the hell out of there, he says. And the others have to leave too, because they can't stand in front of the x-ray machine because of the radiation. Also, they have to find the girl's medicine. So the other guy is the sneaky guy is trying to take the elevator to get out of here, but something starts beating at the bottom of it. So they hear him scream, and the others go to try and save him, but they can't pry the door open. A hand reaches through the bottom of the elevator, and the cop goes to shoot it, and we see that the homeless man has his gun. So he takes a fire extinguisher and he swings it in there, but he accidentally hits the sneaky guy, and the monster crawls through the hole. He starts hitting him with the fire extinguisher, and they think they scared it away. Then we cut back to the homeless man. He puts the gun to his head, and we see the little girl say she promises he will sleep. There's a lot of bizarre stuff that happens here. The nurse goes and gets the gun away from him. The cop and the dad pull out the guy in the elevator, but the monster comes back, grabs his leg and bites him, and then the elevator wires break and the monster falls down with the elevator. Back when they all meet together, the nurse bandages the other guy's leg. He blames the dad and the cop for hitting him with a fire extinguisher, and he says, "I'm tired of having to carry around this retarded girl." And then they hear the intercom go off. So they go up to it and they try to talk back, and they actually hear another person. So they decide to go down the stairs again, but the exit's blocked, so they end up on floor 3. They find a bunch of dead bodies here, and then they find like a tape recorder, and when they play it, it says "Give up the girl." So then a monster breaks through the wall, and the homeless man stays behind. The others take off, but he stays behind with the monster, and we don't see him get killed at all. The others take off. The cop stays behind to shoot the monster. He tells the others just to go. They don't want to, but of course the sneaky guy pulls them into the room and shuts the door, so the cop is left behind. He gets killed. The others are safe because they lock the door behind them, and it's like huge, it's steel, the monster can't break through it. So the monster leaves, and they all kind of look out the window, and they see that the world is frozen because it was a rainy night, and they just see the rain frozen in the air. So it's like time has frozen in this place. Clocks don't work, watches don't work, so you really don't know what's going on here. They hear the intercom go off again, and the nurse goes to talk back, and she realizes the person they're talking to is themselves from earlier. So that's kind of cool. And then the nurse and the dad go to clear off the blocked exit, and they leave the sneaky guy with the little girl. On the way, they find a dead security guard covered in sand for some reason, and they take his gun. They go to check the door, and they start trying to break through the exit, and they hear a noise in the stairs above them. So the dad fires a shot up, and we see that the guy firing the shot up earlier that grazed the security guard was them all along. It's like they're in some kind of a loop of time. But eventually the dad and the nurse, they break through the wall, and they find these two bodies melded together. These like burnt bodies stuck together. Meanwhile, the sneaky guy is trying to give the girl to the monsters because he thinks that's what they want. Tobias, the homeless man, comes back and says she's not his to give away. The dad and the nurse hear Tobias, the homeless man, who they thought was dead, on the walkie-talkie, so they go back to check on the girl. And then we see the melded monster kind of move behind him. I thought this was going to lead to something cool. I was a little disappointed in this scene because we do see the monster move, but it never comes back. So I was disappointed with that. The other guy, the sneaky guy, just starts beating up the homeless man. And then all of a sudden this giant sandstorm appears, and a monster shows up, and it rips out the sneaky guy's heart, and the dad shoves the monster out of a window with the gurney. They head to the first floor, and the little girl disappears. The nurse and the dad get separated, and the nurse hits a monster with a defibrillator. The dad opens a door and sees a bright light that looks like a normal hospital. He goes through this light and he sees that it's a normal hospital, but he can't touch anyone. His hand goes through him. So the nurse calls him on the walkie-talkie, trying to meet up with him since they got separated, and he tells her where she is, or where he is, and she says, "Well, I'm standing right here." So he realizes something's wrong, so he heads out of the white hospital, and he ends up back in the regular hospital, and he finds his daughter. But the sandstorm monster appears again. The dad and the monster, they kind of fight. Tobias shows back up, stabs the monster from behind. The monster turns around and just grabs Tobias and pulls him onto the stake, killing them both. So the dad, the nurse, and the girl, they meet back up, and they get in the elevator just in time as another monster runs and crashes into it, and they wind up on floor -1. So the ghost comes back from earlier. She comes through the floor and she scratches the nurse on the leg and the face, and the little girl just stares at the ghost and it goes away. They get to the morgue, but they have to walk past a ton of bodies, and all these dead bodies come alive. This part was pretty creepy. They get inside the morgue and all the dead people there start to come back to life. They go to try and escape, and the nurse is in the wheelchair because her leg was cut, so she was kind of sitting there with the daughter on top of her. So the dad takes the daughter and he goes to leave, but the nurse is trying to wheel herself out of the morgue and she gets stuck. So she stands up and tries to run, but the door closes. So she's trapped in there with all these like zombie creatures coming at her. And they try to open the door to save her. The little girl says it's coming, and the dad is trying to open the door, but he can't. And then all you see are like these hands come over the nurse's face. This was pretty awesome. The dad backs away, and this black cloud starts to kind of come through the windows. They escape to the parking garage, and they get inside an ambulance. So now we just have the dad and the little girl left. This black cloud is just destroying everything. They're trying to outrun it. Everything it touches just gets destroyed. And then the boss monster shows up, the lead singer of Lordi. And he shows up, and he controls the black cloud. So they're trying to outrun it in the ambulance. They get to kind of a dead end. The father leaves the girl and he says, "Stay here, someone will come for you." He gets in the ambulance and he's going to drive directly into the boss monster. He's going there, he's about to run into the guy, but then this bright flash of light shows up, and it's the daughter. He gets out of the ambulance and he's staring at his kid who's got like this white light around her, and all of a sudden the black cloud just crawls up his body and he just disintegrates. Then we see the daughter turn around and she tells the boss monster she wants to go home. She closes her eyes and then she wakes up back in the CAT scan machine like the beginning of the movie, but this time she's drawing circles with a blue crown, and she wants a blue crown. Then we see the homeless man Tobias walk by her, who was the guy who walked by her in the beginning that whispered something we couldn't hear, and this time he walks by and says he doesn't feel cold anymore. And that was it. That was the end of the movie. So definitely kind of bizarre. I thought it was awesome. I was really entertained. It was only like an hour and 20 minutes, so just like a short, fun movie. Had some creepy parts. I thought it might be kind of cheesy having the metal band in there, but it worked. The whole thing was really good. I thought the costumes were great. The ghost looked creepy. She was probably the creepiest one, the ghost, and the monsters looked cool too. So it had a cool story. It was definitely interesting. I was a little disappointed it didn't go into what the hell exactly happened, what was going on here. I mean, I guess it's just left to the viewer's imagination, but I would have liked to have known what the hell happened. Why was time frozen? Was it all in this little girl's mind? I mean, the sneaky guy, the security guard too, it just seems kind of weird to me. But definitely an awesome movie, so I highly recommend this one. If you're a fan of horror movies or anything like that, or just want like a short, fun way to kill an afternoon, definitely check this out. Dark Floors, and it's not that old, 2008. So yeah, I definitely like this movie, and thank you, Lazarhead, for recommending this, because this was a really good movie, and I'm glad I got to watch this. So thank you for that recommendation, and I hope you like the review. So everybody who watches these, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thanks to everybody who has subscribed, and that's it for this week. If you have another cool movie you think I'd like, leave it in the comments below, and that's it. So thanks for watching. Bye.